As you can see, I'm a little bit wonky because I was running and a dog chased me and I fell and I twisted my ankle. So I'm going to be sitting here like one of those talk show TV hosts. I know, right? Like this. So I don't usually do this. I'm a little bit more running back and forth, but apologies for today. Can everybody see the screen? Am I hiding anything? Right. The funniest thing ever is that this talk is called the speedrun edition. And here I am, not being able to run at all. But anyway, I hope that you guys are ready. I hope that you guys either have pen and paper or a note app on your phone, because it's probably going to be useful. And just to introduce myself, I'm Silvia Coletto, as you can hear from my accent. I'm Italian. I've been in the UK for 11 years. And I've been in marketing for 10, in paid ads for 9.5 almost. I've got my own business. It's called the Paid Ad School. I basically run a lot of consultancy and a lot of education around paid ads, not only but including small businesses that usually are priced out of big agency fees. I've wrote a book. I've got a few free copies there. Unfortunately, I've only got 5 left, but pick one up if you want to. And yeah, I'm also a speaker. I've been part of the Professional Speaking Association for just over 2 years now. So today, 2 things I'm going to talk to you about. One is questions that I ask my clients to make sure that they are actually ready to run advertising. The second is what everybody asks me for, which is ballpark starting budgets if you think you are actually ready. And this talk is not about technically how to run ads, because to be honest, unless you are specifically a PPC executive, you don't really care. But you need to understand the logic behind advertising in order to know if your business should be running advertising or not. But first, one question and one quiz. So there's a little bit of interaction to start with. The first question, which usually helps me try to understand what kind of composition the room is, raise your hand when you're called, and if you think you're that thing that I'm asking. Is your company or yourself, if you're a freelancer, running ads right now? Okay, this is good. So we've got very few people in the room, which is usually surprising because it's usually a 50-50. So this question, you frame it like this. If you're running ads right now as a company, the question is, should you keep running ads in your current state of business? If you're not running ads, the question is, should you consider or start running ads in your current state of business? That doesn't mean that you might not want to do it in the future, but as it is right now, in your situation right now, should you or should you not? So this is the framing of what we're trying to do tonight. The quiz, and again, this is a hand raise for the one that you think is the one. I'll call them out individually and you can tell me. What do you believe is the biggest challenge with ads at the moment? So these are the 3 options. So option 1, they get into complex. 2, they get into expensive. Or 3, attribution is challenging. Who's guessing number 1? Hands up. Nobody. Who's guessing number 2? They're getting, okay. 3, attribution. We've got a 50-50 between 2 and 3. Drum roll, please, again. The answer is all of the above. So nobody actually got that one right. I know it was tricky. Usually there is somebody who shouts, all of them, but not in this case. So nobody wins a candy. Good, because I didn't bring any with me. I did buy them yesterday, but they melted. So I couldn't have given you a candy anyway, even if I wanted to. But anyway, no, well, anyway. All the above, so ads are expensive, they're complex, and the attribution is challenging. So basically a disaster. Not really, but I mean, sort of. So that begs the question, really, like, are you really in a position to spend money and run ads? So, I mean, spoiler alert, the answer 90% of the time is not really, you're not ready, but let's find out. So questions I ask my clients. These are not all the questions that I ask my clients, but they're the most important ones as far as I'm concerned. Because if you look at these questions and you think, oh yeah, no, this is not good, I cannot answer positively to at least half of these, it means already you shouldn't be running any ads. So that is going to save you straight away a lot of money. So the first one is, do you have a product or service that already sells well? And this is fundamental. I cannot stress how fundamental this is, because if you try to sell with ads a product or a service that is struggling to sell organically, so that you cannot sell without putting money behind it, it's not going to work with that. So what you're going to do is still not sell the product or service, but spend money doing that. And if it's not selling organically, it's usually either a message problem, so how you position yourself on the website, or a price problem, in the sense that, well, probably your competitors will either have a better product or service, or they're cheaper. So this is quite an important one. The second one, does the product or service that you're selling have a high average order value or a recurring revenue model? So this one is important because, as I said, ads are getting expensive. So due to the rising cost, anything that brings in repeat business, so on a monthly basis, for example, or has a higher average order value, is what is likely to give you a profit. If, for example, you want to run ads selling cat food, the cost of the ads is going to be higher than the revenue that you're going to make selling cat food. So think about high average order value or repeat business. For example, subscription models are the ones that usually do really well, because you have a one-off cost to acquire, but then with the subscription model, you've got recurring revenue coming in. So the average order value and the average lifetime value of the customer. So you can afford to pay more to acquire it, because you know more money is going to be coming in automatically. Next one, which Mel is going to like probably, is, do you have a bespoke landing page on your website? And again, this one I cannot stress enough, because, as an example, I used to have a small client, trade. It was an electrician. He was doing really well. He was doing a lot of EICR, so electrical checks for landlords, like you need that to be compliant. He was doing a lot of rewirings, and he had a one page for each one of these services with the H1 title, so the title that said exactly what they were doing and where they were doing it and who were they doing it for, and the prices for all of those things, and what was going to happen with them coming into the house and doing their survey and then quoting. Like, it was perfect. Unbeknownst to me, he decided to change his website completely with a different company, website company that I didn't know about. What he did was to aggregate all the services on the same page. That means you go from a house rewire in Bolton, for example, to services, with all the services listed there. You are paying for people to go to a page when they're looking for a house rewire in Bolton, and they cannot even see the first thing as being house rewires, because you're going to list that is going to be listed with a whole host of other services that you don't care about. that electrician cannot run ads anymore. I refuse to, well, he's probably running ads with somebody else, but I refuse to run ads with him because I know that those ads are going to get, one, more expensive, and two, they're not going to convert for him. So really, really important, bespoke landing page for your website. And it needs to include these things at the very least. Outcomes, so what are you doing for them? No, really what you're doing for them. Reviews, you need, well, look, ideally, you get video reviews, but video reviews are hard to come by sometimes. So if you have your reviews on Google, if you have your reviews on Trustpilot, wherever you got them, there are aggregators that you can pull in the website that always display the latest reviews. I know some people are like, yeah, but I want to, or maybe some reviews are negative. Fair enough, but not having reviews is a lot worse because you need that social proof. Client logos, another social proof. FAQs, you do have questions that businesses ask you all the time when they are contemplating working with you. Those are the sticking points. You know that probably everybody's going to ask you the same questions, so put them out there. Don't try and get them to ask you, because they're not going to. Some people are not going to inquire. They're not going to call you. The information needs to be on the website. Videos if relevant, but again, it depends on the industry. There are lots of factors, so I know it's a lot harder to come by. And this one, this one trips people up. Are you confident that GA4 or analytics tracking is set up correctly? Some people, you might be looking at me and thinking, well, what the hell is GA4 and what the hell is analytics? Well, fair enough. If you're not a specialist in this area, so this basically means, can you report on what happened with the money you spent? So you need to know that if 100 people came to your website from ads, what did those people do? And out of those people, did anybody inquire or buy from you at the end? If you cannot say hands on heart that your website can do that, if you're in charge of that, that's bad. If you're not in charge of that, go to the person who's in charge of that and really, really make sure that this is the case. Because if you are not sure about this, again, do not spend any money, please. Because then people are going to ask you what happened with those money, and you're going to say, I don't know. And again, that's not a good look. Some people got fired because of that, but you're probably not going to get fired. But also, people are not going to be happy about you. These are the questions. And then, next thing that I want to talk about that is actually quite interesting, because pretty much every single person that I've ever talked to has asked, how much should I spend if I am running ads? Universal questions. Let's talk budgets. But here as well, huge disclaimer, it should have been a lot bigger actually, now that I think about it, because this is not huge enough. Budget is subject to how much an average click costs in your industry. This is paid advertising, this is pay per click. Now, sometimes you pay for impressions, so how many people see your ad, but mostly we are regulated by cost per click. Cost per click is not the same for everybody. It depends on lots of things, but really it's very, very different depending on the industry. So what is an average cost per click for hospitality is not going to be the same cost per click for medical or insurance. For example, legal, medical, and SaaS, so software as a service, have got actually high watering CPCs, and I've got some examples from this month from clients that I've been running ads for. I'm talking about one click being £140. So those are extreme cases, but medical, because those are highly regulated industries. I've got other clients that have got a cost per click of £1.50. Or I've got some clients that run a brand awareness, so top of the funnel, with cost per clicks of 10p. So it really, really changes, but especially if you're in B2B or in highly regulated industries, the budget depends on the cost per click. So I I mean, you're going to quote me on this, but don't quote me on this. So usually, if you want to start running ads on a test budget, you're aiming to have around 400 clicks a month for a starting budget. So this is just to test what is working and what is not working, and if things are going in the direction that you thought they were going to go, or if things actually are not working and you just have to either stop or pivot. So a starting point of 400 clicks is usually good enough for an average conversion rate on the website of 1.5 to 2%. That presumes that you know what your average conversion rate on your website is. If you don't know that, you have to find out, because the lower the conversion rate, the more traffic you need to make sure that the test is working. Because on 1.5%, in simple maths, you probably have 5 to 6 leads or sales within a given month. So as you can tell, it's not a lot. So if your conversion rate on website is towards the 1 or below 1%, it's more and more clicks needed to get the same result. So again, you do have to be really specific about what is it that you want to test. So this is the maps, 400 clicks times your cost per click, which depends by the industry, roughly the monthly budget. I set an example here of £3. This is what you would be looking for, and that is ad budget. So if somebody is running ads in your company, no problem. But if a freelancer is doing it or an agency is doing it, you do have to add the management cost on top of that. So bear that in mind, because that makes a huge difference. My personal recommendation is you need to test ads for roughly 2 times the length of your sales cycle. So there are some sales cycles that are 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, fine. There are some sales cycles in B2B that are 6 months to a year. If you do not have the budget to cover roughly twice your sales cycle, personally, don't do it. Or at the very least, be realistic of why it might not be working for you straight away. Because if you've got a sales cycle of 6 months to a year and you expect in a month to get ads that return on the investment, I mean, everybody hopes that, but I mean, come on, realistically, it's just not going to happen. Ads are not a magical solution to sales problems. It's all numbers. It's all statistics at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, 2 sales cycles. If you can spend the money and test it thoroughly, please do. Otherwise, please don't, because otherwise you end up looking like this guy. So this is the perfect representation of people trying to run ads and without an objective. So they push all the buttons and then hoping that something sticks and that something magically happens. But no, don't, please don't. Strategy first, buttons last, always. Thank you. Got 2 more slides. First one is